The first community arts center recently opened in Boston's Chinatown, known as the Powell Center. Its goal is to reflect an Asian American cultural legacy in traditional and contemporary forms. The center is also a partnership between the Boston Chinatown Neighborhood Center and Bunker Hill Community College. Our guests are the Neighborhood Center's Executive Director, Giles Li, and from the college, the Dean of Academic Support and College Pathway Programs, Nuri Chandler-Smith. Thank you both very much for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
I want to start with Giles Li, because before you became the Executive Director, you were working for the Neighborhood Center, an arts program. So talk about what was brewing in your mind.
Yeah, you know, before I was known as a nonprofit leader in Chinatown, I was known as a community-based artist in Chinatown. And so it's always been an important thing to me to make sure that people in that community had access to kind of artistic experiences. We know that having access to arts and creativity is actually good for people, especially low-income people, people who are linguistically isolated, people who don't have access to as many mainstream supports. Having access to good quality arts education and arts experiences can actually be kind of a protective factor for mental health and emotional health and other kinds of wellness. So when I was at BCNC, I used to run arts programs, and when I became executive director in 2013, one of the things that I was telling my board was that the way that arts is supported and funded and thought of kind of in the city and maybe nationally is changing, and that it's not going to be enough to offer arts classes or arts experiences in our center. We needed to put arts really in the middle of our planning for the community and really make it kind of a central piece of our culture.
Well, imagine one part of what you're trying to do here is make sure there is access to the arts, not just for people on some high achiever track, but a broader population probably, right?
Well, definitely. Chinatown has the strange distinction of being the neighborhood in Boston that has the highest median rent and the lowest per capita income. Those two things don't really match up, and so there's a range of different kind of challenges associated with that, and also there's kind of a diverse population in Chinatown. Some people that do have access to a lot of resources, and a lot of people, largely recent immigrants, who don't have a lot of resources. And we want to make sure that the Powell Arts Center is a space that welcomes all of those people explicitly, but in particular for people that don't have a lot of other opportunities to engage with this city's great arts sector. We want to make sure that they don't feel left out and that they feel that they have a place for themselves here.
Nuri Chandler-Smith, the arts is only part of the relationship between the community college and Chinatown. So talk about the bigger picture first.
Sure. Bunker Hill has a long relationship with the Boston Chinatown Neighborhood Center and with a number of other community organizations throughout the Chinatown community. We're really invested in connecting with the community to the extent that we can. It's really central to our mission. And so we develop these relationships and partnerships as part of that.
And what about the importance of the arts? Because people don't always associate community college with the arts, because I guess you got people who are maybe bound for a certain kind of higher skill in a job market. But what about the arts, combining in that?
Sure. So Bunker Hill offers a really wide array of majors, certificates, and degree programs, including arts. So we have visual arts programs as well as performing arts, theater, and music. And all of these programs either can transfer to a four-year institution, they may lead directly into the workforce. They have all kinds of options that they can lead to for our students.
No, I see this relationship here, meaning that you got people who are at the college, but they're doing things at the art center. Now, you say, yes, this is great for people from the Asian American community, but you're going to have other people too coming into this community. What does that mean?
That means that these people also have the opportunity to learn about the community where they're getting their education, which I think is fantastic. It provides an opportunity for our students and for the community to engage in something that we call community-based learning, and also to provide an opportunity for our students to engage in some culturally relevant curriculum and pedagogy so that they can be learning about the community where they are, learning with the community at the same time, and so this provides a really rich experience for our students.
Yeah. Giles, what about your own experience growing up and having an artistic foundation that was at least maybe started for you and that you built on yourself? I mean, what's that like?
It's kind of an interesting thing because arts has always been an important part of my life and my family. I guess to some extent they recognize the importance of having those experiences for me, but the most important thing for me and the thing that really drives my passion for this project is Chinatown. I care a lot about Chinatown and the people of Chinatown, and that was the community that really nurtured and supported my family when I was a kid. My grandparents, my mother, they sought services there. That was where their social networks were located. So it was really about the neighborhood of Chinatown. And I think with this project, in the face of a kind of a changing Boston and a changing neighborhood, we're really hoping to reclaim a bit of the history of Chinatown, with the Powell Arts Center, and make it live today, so that it can impact the way that we think about the future of this neighborhood. So we don't lose what Chinatown has meant to so many people.
This is BNN News. We're talking with Giles Li from the Boston Chinatown Neighborhood Center and Nuri Chandler-Smith from Bunker Hill Community College. Nuri, what about just being able to connect with the community? Because the college, it's in Charlestown, but you got to get around a larger part of the world here and make sure people know about you, right?
Absolutely. We actually have sites in a number of different parts of the greater Boston area precisely for that reason, to ensure that a lot of people have access to our educational services. So we have a campus in Chelsea, we have a satellite in Malden, we offer classes in Quincy in partnership with BCNC, and in the South End as well. So we try to be where the community is to ensure that it is an easy transition for somebody who is looking to enter college.
Charles, this is also happening at a very interesting time in Chinatown, because you have a lot of gentrification pressure going on. You have a lot of new housing, new people, new income groups maybe, and I guess the center can help maybe bridge some of those different areas maybe.
Yeah, in a way, I look at Chinatown and I kind of see almost like two neighborhoods. I see a neighborhood that is what Chinatown is thought of. It's a recent immigrant, it's low-income population, it's not linguistically as mainstreamed. And then there's also the population of folks that live maybe in the high-rises, maybe work in the financial district or at the hospital. And those two communities, even though they occupy the same neighborhood, don't interact all that much. And we know that it's a protective factor for low-income populations if they can feel really engaged in their community, if they feel that they have neighbors who are there to support them. And so we hope that with the Powell Arts Center, we are going to no longer have two neighborhoods in one space, but really make that one neighborhood where everybody feels like they're neighbors and friends.
Well, Chinatown has long been, in addition to being a neighborhood, it's been a nexus, so that even people who don't live there anymore, they come back, they support community programs to help people who eventually themselves might move out of Chinatown. How does the arts maybe either preserve that or strengthen that?
Yeah, with arts, sometimes people think of it as almost an add-on. They think that with low-income families or recent immigrant families, they need academic support, they need support with English, maybe with their job, maybe with childcare, and those things are all true, and those are all things that we provide at BCNC. But also for a healthy community, for a community that is really vibrant and worth living in, you have to have experiences other than services. There have to be other things that make that community worth being in and keeping people engaged, even maybe after their child is aged out of childcare, or if they've now got a good job and and they no longer need our supports in that way. Well, what else can they do to make sure that they stay engaged in Chinatown and still have an opportunity to take part in the things that are happening there? And through arts and culture is really one of the best ways to keep a neighborhood healthy and whole.
Well, you mentioned people want to find out about the center. You've got a website, or at least part of a website they can turn to?
Yes, the BCNC website is www.bcnc, that's Boston Chinatown Neighborhood Center.net. And then to learn about the Arts Center, just add a /PAO. And
Nuri, you have lots of information about Bunker Hill Community College, I'm sure.
We do, yes. And you can find that information at bhcc.edu.
Thank you all very much. Nuri Chandler-Smith and Giles Li.